Welcome to Fragmental.
An amusing take on random topics. So it is number 40.
Yeah,
40 fucking episodes.
the big
Seems like yesterday.
4-0, man. It
Yeah,
actually it really doesn't feel like it's been that long.
it doesn't. When did we start? I don't
I want to
remember.
I
I'd have
want
to
to
look.
say it's been a year and a half.
Oh, it's been longer than that.
No, didn't we start in like in August of 19?
Maybe. We switched like providers or whatever for the podcast on like in June of 20, I think. No, I don't know. It doesn't fucking matter. It's 40
The
episodes.
point is we're 40 episodes and it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've got, and I sent you that picture today. We've got over 1,000 downloads on our new service. So I don't even know how many we had on the
Yeah,
old
so that
one,
was
but
probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 episodes that weren't on this. So that's awesome.
yeah, yeah, probably 10 or 15, yeah, probably 15, somewhere in there. So
So I mean, we like, all joking aside, I think we're doing better than we're doing better than we make fun of. Because
yes, I
if you
would
just
hope so.
do the math, we would be averaging about 26 downloads an episode, but that also doesn't include like the first, like we just said, like the first 10 episodes. So
Hmm.
yeah, we're
Yeah,
probably somewhere in the 30s, which is awesome.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I've got roughly 900 copies of the podcast. So um, that was you get 1,000, you get it 1,000,
Yeah.
whatever. Sorry,
No,
man.
I got you.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. There's a reason I'm not laughing.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was just a chuckle funny. That was not that is not
that
a Ray
was,
J's dick right there.
yeah, that's not a Tommy Lee driving a boat funny. Or,
But that, I mean, it is. That's funny.
yeah,
But I mean, right in the beginning, we were like, we had it like between the two of us, we were like 8 devices.
exactly. Exactly.
And then after
Exactly.
like
No,
5 episodes, we were like, all right, this is kind of lame. Like we,
let's stop downloading them on like the each of our 4 devices.
right? Like I just bought a Google burner phone just so I could get it on Google Play.
And for other reasons that I won't go into.
Yeah, that's. I was under the impression this was a judgment-free zone.
It is a judgment free zone. I just said for other reasons. From what I hear. Um,
Oh man.
God, I gotta drop that in meetings just to hear you just start cracking up.
That's what, yeah, everybody's gonna be like, what? And I'm gonna have it on mute, and they're just gonna see me just like cry laughing in the background, like, man, he's really
Is he crying? What's wrong with him?
right.
Is he having a
Like,
seizure?
oh, I think one of the animals died.
Timmy the fish. What was I gonna say? Oh, well, since we're in Central Ohio, bet that the Buckeyes lost last night in the national title. So
Yeah, that sucked dick.
yeah,
That was, you know what though? So maybe it's a football coach in me, but I got to give credit, man. Alabama's damn good.
well, they look
I
great.
mean, I, I mean, people were freaking out, crazy Buckeye fans, and I mean, the Ohio State offense wasn't terrible. I mean, there were a few drives they didn't really finish, but scored 24 points. I mean, Ohio State. First of all, did you expect Ohio State to score 53 and Alabama score 52? I mean, and to be honest, again, just being up front, Alabama kind of played ball control in the second half. Like
Oh, totally.
they weren't like playing trestle ball where they just ran it up the middle, but they stopped high, they weren't up tempo anymore. Like they'd get a, 5-yard run, they'd take their time, then do a 6-yard
Have a
pass.
sandwich.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, they weren't working very hard against the Ohio State defense. But yeah, you know what I mean?
Go for a jog.
I mean, they were. I mean, Jesus Christ, Smith would have had 400 yards receiving. I mean, he was,
Is that before he hurt his hand?
yeah, unstoppable.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not a huge Buckeye fan, but Sermon was out right away. I mean, I think we had 2 plays and
One first play of the game.
one first play of the
Broken
game.
collarbone, yeah.
And then who was the dude? Is it the defensive lineman dude that had COVID?
Yeah. So I think there may have been 2 starting defenders had COVID, starting kicker COVID, and then a whole bunch of guys who were part of the rotation COVID. So, I mean, Ohio State was definitely down people, but no, that Full
and Fields wasn't.
strength, yeah, would not have mattered last night. Not with that game plan.
No, not at all. Yeah, not at all. And Fields, I don't think was 100%. So
Well, I mean, he got smoked in the ribs in the
yeah,
Clemson game. Um, but yeah, I mean, and people were talking about Sermon going out. Sermon, I mean, the 3 games before that were incredible, but for the other 5 games of the season, Master Teague was the better running back. So it's not like, and Master Teague was averaging 4.8 yards a carry. So I mean, he was still having success. So I'm not gonna blame it on Sermon not being there.
no.
Although
Yeah, I know, but I
it
mean,
doesn't,
after
I mean, as well, yeah.
what they did to Clemson, I mean, if Ohio State did that to Clemson, what would have Alabama done to Clemson?
Oh yeah.
Or would it just been a different? Maybe it would be a different game. I don't
Well,
know,
you
but
know what? I think it's a different game, right? It's a game of matchups, and I'm going to be full on coach nerd here. Um, but what Alabama did so incredibly last night was exploit the hell out of the Ohio State defense, and that's where they just knew like we've got mismatches here, and we're going to hope that these, because not all the defensive backs were guys who've played all season because there were guys who've missed games because COVID.
mhm.
We're going to rely on the fact that we're going to have a lot of motion, a lot of crossing routes, and guys are not going to make their read. And they didn't. And it was a great gamble. And that's what I was saying during the game. My brother and I were texting. I mean, uh, Coach Sarkisian, the Alabama offensive coordinator, I mean, he just put on a clinic like of how you can exploit a game plan. I mean, individuals, I don't know that Alabama was 52-24 better than Ohio State. But you line up those 2 game plans against each other, it was a hell of a game plan. Ohio State didn't make halftime adjustments. And typically, when you don't, that's because you don't have confidence in your personnel, which I'm not going to shit on those guys again as individuals. But, when you're running a 4-4 against a team that runs the spread, you're going to lose.
Well, they worked out that way then.
Yeah. I mean, that's just because what that means is you're going to have a linebacker on a wide receiver. And I mean, at one point, an Ohio State linebacker had to guard Smith. Like, are you kidding me? Like, he's going to lose that battle 100 out of 100 times. You got a guy who's extremely powerful, but runs a 4.7 against, possibly one of the fastest guys in college football. How do you think that's going to go?
Obviously, it didn't go well.
But what are you going to do? I mean,
Yeah.
Still, as a Buckeye fan, I'm proud mainly because of what the teams had to overcome and throttling your boy Dabo.
Yeah, exactly. I could care less about Alabama. And well, the only downside is I lost, I don't know, a shit ton of money yesterday. Um, but I mean, that was the only reason I was watching the game was just to get the numbers. And the numbers didn't pan out for me.
Which I do feel really bad about. I mean, how do you buy 30 squares and not win a goddamn square?
Exactly. How do you how do you buy 78 squares out of 100 and not win a fucking a square at all?
Mathematically, it was an 88% chance I was going to win a quarter.
And I missed all of them. God damn it. Unlucky.
But,
Well,
speaking of Ohio football, man, the Browns winning the
yeah.
first, and the Bills. Were you a Bills fan? And
I'm not a Bills fan. I wasn't a Bills fan when I lived in Syracuse.
okay,
I was kind of a Steelers Eagles fan, kind of in that range. Then I moved to Chicago and just became. I would officially call myself a Bears fan at this point.
okay,
Just the city and
yeah,
I mean the age. I mean they're one of the original NFL teams and just like the Blackhawks are one of the original hockey NHL teams.
yeah,
Um, but I was rooting for them just because I mean, they're close enough to Syracuse to be. I knew a ton of in high school and a ton of kids that were Bills fans.
oh
And,
yeah.
in that area, it's weird. It's this weird mix of like Bills, Giants, and Jets. In that, I don't know. It's like the melting pot of like those 3 teams up in there. So,
That's a
um,
good call. I remember a lot of people being Giants fans when I was
mhm,
going to Q's.
yeah. So, but no, I was happy to see him win. It's I was rooting for them. I guess I'm not like I got a diehard Bills fan, but I would appreciate they were going to win. And yeah, you know what? I like the underdog story. So I mean, even though the
Yeah.
Browns even I'm somewhat of a Steelers fan still. Even with the Browns going in there, I was kind of like I kind of wanted them to win too, just because of the underdog story.
It's awesome that neither team has won a playoff game since the 90s.
Hmm.
And they both go win. I mean, I guess the Bills were probably expected to win their game. The
Yeah,
Browns, I don't think anybody outside of Cleveland gave them a chance. And I mean, that was 28 to nothing in
yeah,
like 10 minutes. That
yeah.
was
I mean,
incredible.
it wasn't like they just like kicked a field goal and won the game by like 2 points or something like that. It was they like walked in there and trounced like either the Steelers just were looking past them, which is very possible. Like this is the Browns. We just kicked. Didn't they kick their ass like 2 weeks ago? I mean, it
No,
was.
so the Browns beat them the week before, but like the Steelers had the excuse, like they arrested Ben Roethlisberger. A couple guys
Oh,
were COVID or whatever. Like, they were like, "Hey, we were without three starters." Well, your starters played, and you got fucking
exactly,
waxed.
exactly. Baker doing the rodeo ride down the fucking field. Um,
it was, but it was awesome, man. The Browns were amped, like they were there
yeah, they
to
were.
play.
Then they go to Kansas City now.
Yeah, it's a tough draw, but you know what? I think I mean, the Browns aren't supposed to win. Kansas City's the number one seed. They are supposed to win that game. But
Right.
the Browns are tough. Like, I don't
Mhm.
think they get enough credit. They play a good brand of ball. Their offensive line just punches you in the mouth. They got the best running back duo in the league. And you know what? I was not a fan of Baker Mayfield because I'm a Denver fan, which means Brown fans, I believe, are supposed to hate me. But thanks to John Elway. But I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh, so Denver,
Baker Mayfield.
they were talking about Denver drafting Baker Mayfield. And I'm like, God, no. Like, I was not a believer and can't argue with the way he's played, especially like the last 10 games of the season. I mean, dude played
It.
phenomenal. He's a hell of a leader on that team right now.
I mean, I've been here in the C bus area for 6 years now, 7, 14. So yeah, going it'll be
Yeah.
this year it'll be 7. Jesus, doesn't seem like 7 years. And I'm not a huge Browns fan, but the one thing with them is like it was fucking consistency. Every year they had like 6 new coaches, a new general manager. It's like
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah.
Like how the fuck do you build a team when you're changing the leadership every whatever? But it looks like they've settled into something decent. Hopefully they can have some. I mean, the Steelers are perennial because they're on their third coach in their entire fucking
Yeah.
lifetime.
Oh, they're the gold standard.
Yeah,
I mean, just the
absolutely.
way of ownership, general manager, like they've just been the gold standard.
Hmm.
And I mean, they're still making the playoffs. I mean, they were bad for a year. Like they
Yeah.
had a bad year a couple years ago, and here they are back in the playoffs. Their defense, while they couldn't stop the Browns, the defense was the number one defense in the league this year. They've
Except for that one really important time.
except for when they were supposed to be the number one defense and just got ass cheesed up and down the field. Yeah, it was a good game. It was exciting. Um, I was happy for the Browns players, fans, the city. I mean, it was cool. So
Did they
I'm
burn anything down? I didn't even look.
no,
Did
I think
the city go ape shit?
they were pretty COVID compliant. So
Hmm.
um
Something doesn't smell right in Cleveland.
and it's not the lake this time.
It's not the lake.
So yeah, I mean, good for them. It's an awesome story. I mean, they're not supposed to win, but I do not expect Kansas City to go and win 56-10. I think it's going to be closer than people are giving the Browns credit for. And while I
Yeah,
do
I'm
think
gonna,
Kansas City's going to win, I think the Browns could pull it off. I really do.
maybe they'll pull an upset. Mahomes' girlfriend will say something and he'll have to go settle it because I guess he bought her a car or something. There was I saw something
Yeah,
somewhere, maybe on
yeah, he
Twitter.
did something huge. I
Yeah.
mean, the dude just
Oh,
signed $100 million contract in the offseason. I mean, like he's making like
okay.
40 million a year, so it was probably like a $200 million deal. Yeah,
What did he buy her?
I don't know. Well, I
Was
don't
it a Nash
remember.
Rambler? It was a Nash
Oh,
Rambler,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
Historic, fully restored Nash
He
Rambler.
was like, "Hey, I'm gonna buy you a pizza, and with the change, can you buy that Nash Rambler for me?"
Exactly. Because I'm gonna drive it with my dick.
I'm gonna Tommy Lee this. So,
Yeah. She's like, "What?"
I mean, that dude's
Um,
incredible, though. I mean, man, like it's so effortless the way he launches the damn football. We're probably
okay.
boring people right now, because,
Yeah, we are.
but I,
We're 15 minutes in just talking about football.
yeah, sorry.
Now we got to hit. We just got to touch on golf, NASCAR, and porn, and we'll hit our trifecta. Or that's what's more than a trifecta. That's a what is that? Quin
Quinn
quad quadfecta.
Superfecta, right? Isn't that the
Superfecta. Yeah.
superfecta in horse racing?
I don't know. I always fucked up. I could never pick horses. I couldn't understand this trifecta win, place, draw. Fucking. The gambling for that doesn't work for me.
So do you enjoy it or no? Just not at all, because you don't
Um,
understand it.
the gambling in horse racing or horse racing in general.
Horse racing in general and the gambling side of it.
I'll only go horse racing for gambling, so I'm really not into the
Well,
race.
that's right. I'm
Um,
not the guy. It's like, I love the way they beat the shit out of those horses to make them run. Yeah, I'm not that guy. Yeah, I mean, horses are
uh,
beautiful animals, but
what was that movie? I can still see the stake. I can still. Oh, it was Caddyshack. I can still see the marks where the jockey was hitting it. Um, uh, what was I going to say? No, I mean it's for me. It's like it's like win place
win
winner. I
place
mean, I think
show,
if you
first,
win
second,
place
third.
show or something like that. So, well, actually, place I don't think is second. Is if they fall anywhere in the top three, right? Or
No,
shows anywhere at the top of the fall.
show is third. So like if you want to, if you say, because you can bet a minimum of $1, I think, or maybe 50 cents even. But oh, give me two on horse number 4, on Hoof Hearted, for show. Then you're saying second place. So normally you want to bet. If you do two across the board, that means $2 to win, $2 to place, $2 to show. So if they win, you win all three at that point.
Oh, okay.
So if you pick a horse,
It's been a while since I've done
yeah,
any type of, and it was usually in Syracuse. It was harness racing. We go to
yep,
Vernon Downs for harness racing.
that's what they have here in
Um,
Columbus now. There used to be
where's that at?
Scioto Downs, so it is.
I thought that was a dog track. I thought the dogs were there.
No, that's in Cincinnati, I believe.
Oh,
So,
that's
so
owned by Michael Vick.
oh
All the
man.
animal, all their animal loving listeners, like you motherfucker.
Yep, we're back to 20 listeners, you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Scioto Downs, actually, that's right by where I went to high school at.
Oh
So
wow,
it's
really?
like on the south side of 270. So if
No, I know
you,
where it's at. When my buddy has that cabin
oh
down
yeah,
in
yeah,
Chillicothe, I drive right by it because I get on. Was that 23?
yep, yeah, 23 south, and then it's
Yeah.
right there, and they've got and see, being degenerates like we are,
Mhm.
I mean they've got the slots there now too. So,
Oh.
which I've never really been a slots guy, but yeah, I mean I'm more of the it's gambling, so I'm down. So-
Yeah. Yeah. I had a friend of mine. I think we were in Vegas or Tahoe. I think we were in Lake Tahoe, and she put like $50 into like a quarter machine and sat there for like 6 hours just playing slots. You know what I mean? You
Damn.
down, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. Just to occupy. I mean, just to sit there and occupy your time and watch the wheels go around and all that kind of fun shit like that. So, I thought about like going like a team. I mean, it's different. It's difficult now, but not. And I don't mean now because of COVID, but just like because of finances and shit like that. But like that'd be like a good team outing.
Yeah. You know what builds
Because
team unity? Fucking gambling. Am I right?
well, but it's like dinner. You have like a meeting there, and you enjoy and then you enjoy the ponies.
Yeah.
So
Going to the horse racing, not a casino.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, not the
Oh,
casino.
hell
I
yeah.
was talking about the
And
horse racing.
yeah, they used to actually have a nice kitchen. I don't know what it's like now with it kind of, it got worse, but then, with the racino now with the
Race.
slots, yeah, I'm sure they've got some good restaurants again. But my step grandma, used to be a chef there, so we would
Mm.
always get. Oh yeah, I mean, we got all kinds of good stuff. She'd bring it home and just give us bags full of whatever, chicken tenders, Swedish
Horse meat.
meatballs. Yeah, she always said, "Don't ask me where I got this." And
Yeah.
like, man,
Just
it's
I want to let
surprisingly
you know
lean.
This wasn't the winner. This isn't much of a. This isn't winner. It was something I fucked
One,
that joke up, but
let's say one thing I can assure you is this one has never seen the podium.
this is
uh,
not at the top of the heap of the food chain.
oh man,
Oh God.
no, it's a good time. I mean, I enjoy it, growing up as a kid in New York. New York, around the city, not in the city. There's great horse racing. You've got
Yeah. Last time I
Belmont.
checked, they were running horses down like fucking Madison Avenue.
Central Park, little known fact, has a mile and a half.
A mile and a half or harness racing.
But yes, I mean, you had Belmont. Why can't I think of some of the others right now? But you had good horse racing. So,
Saratoga, up in
Saratoga,
Albany.
that's exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
that's beautiful. Saratoga, that whole area,
yeah.
where Saratoga Springs and all that, that's a gorgeous area.
So yeah, I mean, we went to the track a lot. So yeah, I mean, I grew up with it as a little kid. So, no, I enjoyed
We
it.
went to the track a lot.
So I've grown up literally around degenerates.
Hey, little Mikey, go over there and
That's what, like they asked me that in kindergarten, like, why do you give us all nicknames? It'd be like, hey, that's Tommy.
Tommy the shoe.
Yeah. Tommy the tie over there. Why do you call him that? He can't tie his shoes. Like, what? What is this, Goodfellas, which hasn't even come out yet in 6 years?
What was that? What's the tight with the Simpsons one that had the dude was like tight-lipped or something,
Yeah.
and he wouldn't say anything. He wouldn't, I don't know, whatever his fucking name was. I
Oh
love those
man.
names; they're great.
Oh, they are. I mean, that's what, and you see it like because they have all the mob shows on now, and you see it all the time. Like um, I can't even think of it now. Like Tommy the tuna, and you're like, why do you call him tuna? Like he ate a pound and a half tuna sandwich every day. There's a reason he was 450 pounds, but nobody
Yeah.
fucked with him. Terrible
Jimmy Two
temper,
Lips.
Timmy. Or I mean, the movie Goodfellas, you get the the was Tommy two times. He'd be like, I'm gonna get the papers. Get the papers.
That's right. That's right. Movies. Goodfellas is a good movie.
Love that movie.
Yeah. I guess what was I gonna say? Um, we talking about the episode here, and so we're gonna do our as we transition over. I mean, it's a good transition
Yeah.
over to movies. So we are going to talk about our top 5 favorite movies.
Yeah.
In from bottom to top, so from 5 to 1.
Yeah. We thought
What did
it'd
they say
be.
that from bottom up?
No, you're right. You nailed it. I
Oh,
mean, thought it'd
thanks,
be a
man.
good way to let the fans get to know us. The fan to get to know us a little bit.
Who's related to us and or works with us? So
But to get the listeners, I think you could tell a lot about somebody when you know like their favorite movies or their favorite songs. Like when I was rushing a fraternity in college, we had to interview every brother and kind of put together a little thing about them so you got to know them a little bit. And that was always one of our go-tos. Were what are your top 5 movies? Like you get to know a little bit about somebody when you hear their movies. So yeah, they can learn a little bit about us. It gives us a reason to riff on each other and on the movies. So I think it's a good solid topic.
what's your favorite movie? Little Oral Annie. What? When did that come
The
out?
carpets do not match the drapes, in case you're wondering.
It only came out on VHS. Carrie, VHS is a old type of tape that you put into to watch movies on. It's like it's pre Netflix.
Yeah. Man, does she even know when things were DVD or is everything Blu-ray to her? I mean, she's pretty young.
Well, I don't even think it's Blu-ray. I think everything's just like what do you mean?
Everything's digital download now.
Everything's
right.
digital download now, right? There's no Blu-ray.
She's old enough to know what Blu-ray is. It was that thing her parents had when she started kindergarten.
She read about in the news the demise of Blu-ray, so she's heard about it before. We have a Blu-ray player that's literally collecting fucking dust, and a bunch of fucking DVDs and Blu-rays.
Yep.
And now I'm getting 4K downloads from like Apple TV. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, same here. I mean, we use our but I have a PlayStation 3. I'm that old.
Oh,
Like,
Jesus.
so we use our PlayStation
If
to
you
watch movies,
if you
but
tape
yeah,
a PlayStation 2 to it, then you have a place. Do you have get a
get a
PlayStation 5?
PS5. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I got rid of that. I think.
Oh,
Like, come
okay.
on, you know
Sorry.
me. I was in order to help fund the PS3, I sold my PS2.
And a kidney.
So yeah,
So
let's
anyway, back to
yeah.
movies.
You want to kick us off? What do you got? Let's get into it.
God, movies are so good, but and I'm more of a comedy buff, maybe more of an action guy. So I would put like number 5, um, maybe like the Holy Grail, Monty Python's
Oh.
Holy Grail.
She turned me to a newt.
I
I got better.
There are so you got I mean there's so many lines from Python like run away, because of the killer rabbit, or what's the one about the sparrow, about the um how with the French, where'd you get the coconuts? And it's just like, we find them in the woods. It's like, that's from the temperate zone. That's tropical. This is a temperate zone. Well, they were carried by a sparrow. How can a 4-pound sparrow? How can a 2-pound sparrow carry a 4-pound coconut? It's a matter of physics, and just shit like, I mean, there's 1,000 lines in there I can't even
Oh,
remember,
it's
but
such a. I mean, I haven't seen
yeah,
it honestly. It's probably been since I was in high school.
yeah,
But man, it's such a good movie. I mean, I was a big Monty Python fan anyway. So I talked about my step grandma being the chef. She was from
hmm.
England.
Oh,
So
okay.
like she always like would be watching Monty Python skits and stuff like that when I'd be over there. So
Yeah, it's the absurdity of it. I think that's what I laugh at a lot of things, and my wife shakes her head when I'm looking at memes or whatever. But it's like the juxtaposition, like kind of the absurdity of what's going on. Like, I don't know if you know this, but the end of that movie where like the cops are all rounding them up, um, they had to run. They did it that way because they physically ran out of money. Like, that's how they couldn't like do an ending. So they're like, this is the only thing we can afford. So they just rounded everybody up and arrested them, and that was the end of the movie, because that was
they
the
just
end of
ran
their
out
money.
of that's awesome. I did not know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. They literally ran out of money. I mean, and when I say like the Holy Grail, I mean Life of Brian is in there. That's another good one. Where they're and where like Jesus is doing Sermon on the Mount, and the people are all the way in the back and they can't hear. So like, what is he saying? And like that monkey where the things changes when it gets all the way back to them. And that he goes to write in Rome in Latin, but he spells it wrong, and the Romans, and it's basically like death to Rome in Latin, and the Roman soldier makes him rewrite it 700 times because he spelled it wrong, even though it says like death to Rome.
Oh man, no, I love the sense of humor because I'm the same way. Like I mean, obviously we've beat the comedy theme
Yeah.
to death, but it's different levels of comedy, and I love the stupid humor because when I watch that, I would say that I'm not watching that to be intellectually stimulated. I'm watching it to laugh at stupid shit.
Yeah, but it's intellectually stimulating.
It is. Well, because
It's
but British
it's
humor,
historically accurate.
I would say British
I'm
humor
joking.
though, that's kind of their thing. You know what I
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
that's why it's not for everybody here, but no, it's
right. It's only for us intellectuals.
yeah, that's what people think of me.
Yeah, but I was gonna say that's for when people hear my name, they're like, I don't put those two together. So,
Good choice,
but
man.
yeah.
Um,
So, what do you have for 5?
so I'll keep a similar theme with comedy, stupid comedy as well. This probably says a lot more about me. Basketball, I have it number 5. Um,
Okay, the South Park guys.
yeah, I mean, when I look at it, like if I'm looking at some other movies I could have put in there, there's some probably better movies, but that's a movie that I will watch anytime it's on, just because I love the jokes. It's so funny. And it's one of those like there's so many, and it's just like South Park or Family Guy, where there's so many little jokes that you probably didn't catch the first time you saw it, just little subtle, hilarious jokes.
Right.
Um, that's one of my favorites. I mean, having I forget the whole like the skit, but when they're talking about their playoffs and it's the playoffs are longer than the season. and they're like, well, and it usually ends up in a round robin dance off where if that can't figure it out, then we'll then play Rochambeau and fight to the death. Just, so many little jokes like that. Um, it just cracks me up. I will watch it every time.
I think I've only seen that like once or twice, and I'm a fan of the South Park guys. I think Team America World Police was literally one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. Um, the scene of where that dude's throwing up in the alley for like 40 minutes just is for some reason funny, and the song about America, fuck yeah. And they level Paris, and it's like, France, you're welcome, and they would like walk, and the whole city's just like burning rubble. But
Yeah.
those guys are great. I basketball, I just wasn't. I don't know. It was funny. There were spots of it. I wasn't a huge, like I said, I'm a huge fan of those guys, but not of that
Yeah.
movie.
Well,
It
you got
just
to
was
remember, it came
just
out when I
meh.
was in high school. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely, that was definitely my humor at that time. And I mean, one of my favorite lines, again, subtle line, where they kept making fun of the short guy Squeak. And he's like, listen, if you guys rip on me another 13 or 14 times, I'm out of here. Love that line.
Oh man, basketball.
Yeah, like I said, that probably says more about me that that's in my top five. Because I debated, so right, movies that I was considering putting in that spot: American Pie, Happy Gilmore, and Mr. Brooks. If you've ever seen Mr. Brooks,
Mr. Brooks is that's a good
it's a
movie. I
great
wouldn't put it in
movie.
my top five, but it's a good movie. Yeah,
Like,
that's a
I'd
great
never
movie.
heard of it when we watched it. It was like a free preview, and it
You
was
just
on.
watched it recently, didn't you? Or no?
The first time I watched it, it was, think it was probably about 10 years ago.
Okay.
But
I
yeah,
I did the
so
same
good.
thing with Mr. Brooks. I like caught it on the side, and I was like, "What's this about?" And I'm like, "Oh, Coster's in it, so it shouldn't be too bad."
Yeah, it was
And you're
really
like, "Oh,
good.
fucking whoa, hey,
Yeah.
ouch."
Yeah, oh yeah. Man, that movie's fucked up. But
Yeah.
man, yeah, and Dane Cook
Demi
was in it.
Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dane Cook, Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Dane Cook? Is he out there still?
I think he made another comeback a couple years ago, but I don't
No.
I don't know why he went away. Like, I don't know if I missed something, or
Mm.
I don't know. But yeah, great cast. Yeah, good movie. That,
What was it? Yeah, it's yeah, Mr. Brooks is in that. Yeah, that's good. Um
yeah, so what do you got
I'm
as
just
number
trying
4?
I was trying to think of number 4, and I was thinking of going as far as, I mean, this is my kind of top 5. So I mean, it's got to be, I'm either going to go the Born. I can't decide between the Born series like the Star Wars franchise. And that, when I mean the Star Wars franchise, I mean like none of the prequels, um, the main
Yes.
three, like,
Yeah, like
you
the
know,
original.
like the original
Yes.
three.
I agree with
Um,
that.
so you know what? Maybe I'll put it, this is a complete fucking cop out. I know it is, but I'll tie those at 4, like the Bourne series, um, except for the last one. I think the first, what was you that Jason the
Well, what
Jason
was
Bourne was
the
the last one,
last
but
one? The Bourne
that's with
Ultimatum, or Jason
no,
Bourne was the last one?
It was just Jason
Jason
Bourne.
Bourne,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So you had the Bourne Identity, the Bourne Supremacy, and the Bourne Ultimatum. Those that's another triple. I put those at 4. I mean, I will watch those anytime they're on. Star Wars, especially. I mean, the other day, there's a, I don't know, I'm gonna get all fucking super Star Wars nerdy on you right now, but there was a cartoon series called The Clone Wars, um, Star Wars Clone Wars.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's right up and it spans the time from, like, obviously the Clone Wars, the movie The Clone Wars, all the way up to the whatever the Phantom Menace one was, where they do the Order 66 and all of that. But what it did was, for us anyway, because we started watching The Mandalorian on top of it, is it kind of filled a bunch of gaps in, because it's telling kind of stories about other people that you see in other movies. So it starts to kind of fill the holes in of the whole kind of Star Wars canon. That's my new favorite word when I start talking
The
about Star
Star
Wars,
Wars
is
canon.
the
Wow.
canon. Yeah, yeah. I pulled a dictionary out the other day. I'm like, what's that word? It means like,
No, I agree with you. So I was late to the game on Born.
mhm.
I mean, not like I just started watching, but I think the second movie was out before I started watching it, because at first I was kind of like, really, Matt Damon? Like, I'm
Yeah,
supposed to believe he's a badass, and then I saw it and was like, he's a fucking badass.
yeah, exactly. I
uh,
think what got me about Bourne was the fact that the fighting was more realistic than any other fighting I had ever seen. I mean, they were doing like you're grabbing like if you're in a fight, you're gonna grab whatever you can fucking grab,
No,
to
that's fair.
so you're gonna grab a book and a pen or whatever it is,
Yeah.
um, to take on your opponent.
No, you're
So
right. And
in those
we've
types of scenarios,
kind of at that point graduated from the cheesiness of 80s and
hmm
90s.
yeah,
So, no, I think you're right, man. That's actually a pretty good call. Um,
thanks.
no,
I
I
thought
think so.
so.
Too. No, it was good, man. Like I said, I was late to the game, but once I hopped on, it was definitely good. And
Yeah,
then Star Wars. So I'm 100% with you. The originals were great, and like I am by no means a Star Wars nerd. But I mean, as a kid, probably up until I got into high school, Return of the Jedi was my favorite movie. It was awesome.
no, that's good. I think the argument with the super nerds is the fact that I think they say that Empire Strikes Back is the best out of all of them, which I tend to agree with because it was a different director other than George Lucas.
Great movies. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't argue. All three of them were awesome. I
hmm
watched when the first prequel came out, the one like Liam Neeson was in it.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know if it just didn't live up to the hype from the three that I remembered. So I haven't seen any of them after that one because I was so disappointed. Like
Well,
it,
they get they get worse, so you didn't miss
yeah.
much.
So I'm good with it. I
Yeah,
mean, I
you should be.
yeah, I'm not a Star Wars enthusiast, but I absolutely the first three were incredible movies. I'll stand by it.
No, I agree. And I just showed how fucking nerdy I can be when I get in. I mean, I'm talking about prequels and different
We
directors,
did
and
like you just broke down Star Wars like I broke down the Ohio State defense.
I didn't go that. You went a little deeper than I did, but
You're like, okay, well, I'm pulling the teleprompter up here. So over here, you've
hang on. You start maddening the shit out of it.
you got over here, you got the Ewok and the.
My wife would put number one like the replacements. That would be her number one, the replacements,
That's
and
her
the
favorite
ones.
movie,
Yeah, it's like one of her favorite movies anyway.
like Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves, the replacements, yeah. And Matt, speaking of Madden, he was in that, and he's just like when that one of the linemen gets the ball and he runs it into the end zone. He goes, "I love it when fat guys score," and like, why is that, John? He goes, "Because then you get a fat guy dance," and you know what I mean when they
And then
score
it starts
touchdowns.
playing Good Vibrations. Oh no,
No,
that
no, I
was
forgot.
that was when they made the field goal.
Was it? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
it's a great movie too. A very underrated movie.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's like, oh, the replacements are on. I'm like, I'm going in the other room.
I mean, it doesn't have it's not a huge cast, um, but it's a good fun movie.
Yeah,
I mean, I
no,
would not put it in my top 10 or anything by any means,
I
but
I put it. I'd probably put it outside the 25.
yeah, oh for sure. But I'll watch it and I'll laugh.
All right, what do you have for
Shane
four, man?
Falco. Um,
Shane Falco.
so this so
Hey, Falco.
so this is really hard for me because the top four are almost all 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D for me. Like five is
Debbie does. Debbie does Dallas. Debbie does Phoenix. Debbie does. No,
no,
I'm kidding.
Forest Hump is where we start.
Oh
Followed
god,
by
I love the fucking porn parodies. The names are like they've got to be cracking up when they come up with a name.
followed by Cacunt and no, you're right. That would be so fun. I would be great at that job.
No, you'd be perfect at that job. Sitting in a room with like just like a bottle of Jack, and you're like, let's see, what can we come up with? Forest Bump? No. Forest Hump. Yeah, there we go. Nailed it. Forest Hump.
So again, these are all it's basically a tie for me. So I'll go Anchorman.
Oh, that's a solid one.
Yeah, the original, not
Yep.
not Anchorman 2. Um, but just so quotable. I mean, Ron Burgundy, an awesome character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you were to say who would you want to do your eulogy, I would want it to be Ron Burgundy. Because people would expect something like that from me. You wouldn't expect like a rabbi to get up and give you something somber. You would expect some sarcastic bullshit, and they'd probably be like, "Is Friedheim even dead?" Come on.
Somebody check the casket. Did you ever see Red with Bruce Willis and John Malkovich and
Oh yeah, the action movie.
yeah, The action movie. I think in the second one, Malkovich pretends he's dead, and Bruce Willis comes up and he's like, he's not fucking dead, and he's like, he's dead. He's in the casket, he's not breathing, and he takes a pin like a hat pin, and he just jams it into his fucking hand, and he doesn't move, and he's like, oh fuck, he's dead. And like 2 scenes later, he shows up alive, and he was
Yeah,
faking the whole thing. It's hysterical.
that is awesome. So yeah, Anchorman. I mean, just so quotable. Great fight scene.
Yeah, the fight scene is great. I think for Anchorman 2, though, take away Anchorman 2. The fight scene in Anchorman 2, I think, is epic.
Oh, I was top
That to me,
notch.
that I mean, you've got Jim Carrey and Marion Cotillard from Canadian TV. Kanye West is from MTV. Will Smith is from ESPN News. You get Liam Neeson's in that for fucking the History Network.
Yes.
Is that a Minotaur?
Well, and then your favorite is that thing goes to Stonewall Jackson.
This goes to John C. Riley. That fucking guy is awesome. I mean, he goes from like playing the most serious roles. He can sing, and then he does like and I don't know what I can't. I wish I could quote the line about like his ghost is floating. Is like, "May the deaths of all of these rise." He's got that southern accent.
You're right. Both. I
Uh,
mean, even in the first one, the
yeah.
fight scene was hilarious. I mean, Brick killed a guy.
Yeah, I saw that.
Where'd you get a trident? I killed a guy with a trident.
Sex Panther.
Oh,
Sex.
60% of the time it works every time. I mean,
Wow. When you open the
that whole bit is just, yeah.
it's fucking off the nose. It's like meow meow meow.
Oh man,
That's
it's made
funny.
with real bits of panther, so you know it's good.
Then they show their hose. And he goes, "This is worse than when the skunk got caught in the copy machine."
Or when he walks up to her, and she's like, "Oh, it smells." Or what is it? Oh, something smells. That's a smell of desire, my lady. Oh, it smells like Bigfoot's dick. And he's like, well, some say that's what desire smells like. Paul Rudd was so good as that character. I mean, I'm a big
He's
Paul Rudd
solid.
fan too, but
You should be. That dude, he looks like he's 20 and he's like
he is
53.
not aged at all. That's what you sent that video where New York, I think it was in New York or California, hired him about wearing masks, and he was like,
Oh,
"Hey,
yeah.
I'm a
Hey,
millennial,
kids."
bro."
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Paul Rudd's great. I mean, he's solid. Paul Rudd is solid.
Great sense of
That-
humor.
Yeah, absolute fantastic sense of humor. Yeah, I like Anchorman. That's a solid one. But the fight scene, I just like I don't know what it was about Jim Carrey and Marion Cotillard because she's French, so it's like the French Canadian. What about Quebec? Nobody talks about Quebec because they want to succeed at that point, I think, or they want to be their own country at that point.
But
so.
that's what was so great about it
Mhm.
because it was so outlandish with the amount of the people that were bringing in. It was just so over the top. So good. All right, what do you got it?
That's great.
What do you got at 3?
I got at 3. I'm gonna go with Smokey and the Bandit. The original.
Oh,
That's going back. That's like
that's
77.
like you know what? It's still a dream of mine to own a Trans Am.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that. That's a great movie.
Yeah. I think Carrie's parents were still in high school in 77.
Yeah, even they're
Kindergarten,
like,
maybe. Who?
Smokey and the Band? What? I'm unfamiliar.
Band one. I mean, when you listen, I mean, you couldn't do that movie today. It's
God, no.
It's bordering on the edge of. I mean, it's funny. I think this is a whole different topic, but like kind of like people just taking themselves way too seriously. I mean, it's funny. It's like the Archie Bunker argument, right? You can't do Archie Bunker today, even though it was well done, very well done, and very kind of poignant. I mean, when they bump into the sheriff and they knock him into the water, and he goes, "Hey boy, who's sheriff? Whatever." And he goes, "I'm sheriff, whoever." And he's like, "Ooh, I thought you'd be taller." Just my dad was a truck driver, so he loved that movie just because of the road scenes and stuff like that. So it's kind of like,
Oh, so he was a big
because my
Snowman fan.
oh, big Snowman fan. Fred, get Fred, what was it? We were we were moving down here. This is funny. We were moving down here from Chicago, and I bought like those little Cobra two-way shortwave like walkie-talkie things.
Yeah.
So I mean, they work. So I had one in the car. It's instead of calling people, look at calling my wife. She drove my car loaded up, my SUV, with my mom, and my dad and I were in like a U-Haul with. And this wasn't like the. Was this the full one? Yeah, I think this is the like when we were moving completely down. And I, my mom knows how much of a big smoking benefit my dad is. So I keyed them up on the little walkie-talkie and said, I started calling my dad Fred, which is like the dog, and he was not very happy with me at the moment. So I thought it was fun. I thought it was fucking hysterical, but
He's like, you know damn
um,
well I'm the bandit.
I started playing Eastbound and Down because we technically were going east from
That I
Chicago.
swear
So
to God, I was gonna add. I mean, you have to.
yeah, at least once. I mean, so um, yeah, that's my number. That's my number three.
Good
Eastbound
call,
and Down.
man.
Or Eastbound and Down. That's the East. Isn't that Kenny
Yeah, I can't
Kenny
remember.
Powers?
Yeah,
Kenny Powers on HBO. That dude's hysterical too. That guy that plays Kenny Powers. I can't think of his name.
I can't either. But he's that kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
he is that kind of loud with a little bit of a southern draw in almost everything.
hmm Yeah. He
He
writes a lot of that stuff too, so he's actually pretty sharp.
um, is he really from the South or is he actually British?
I don't. I
And
don't think. No,
he just plays the character really
he's
well.
he's really good at accents. No, I don't. I don't think he's from the South, but he doesn't have an accent. He's well, kind of. That's more of his natural voice, I think. Anyway,
um,
that's my number three. What do you have? What do you have
so
on tap?
we already touched on it. Goodfellas.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, like that's another. Like I'm a huge. I think I talked about there is a family connection with the mob from being in New York. So
hmm
I love all those mob movies. So I mean, even you know, not in my top five, but probably in top 10, like Bronx Tale would be in there. Donnie Brasco
Oh
would be in consideration. But Goodfellas, just such a good, like even for the cinematography nerds, they love Goodfellas. Like the scene where, uh, I mean, I've seen this movie probably 50 times. Um, so I don't want to just assume you have as well. But the scene where like he's taking Karen out on a date and
Karen.
well, that's
Karen.
come on, Karen. I still anytime somebody talks about somebody being a Karen, I correct them and I say only if you pronounce it like Goodfellas. If not, it doesn't count. But he's walking her through, like they go through the back door at the club
Yeah.
and you walk through the kitchen. Like if you see, he runs into one of the sinks and it like jars him and it's just cool, like that's a legit one take scene. Just stuff like that, man. And just, I love mob movies anyway, but it's believed to be a true story. I know they said Henry Hill probably stretched the truth on some of the things, but
It's probably like we always say. It's probably directionally accurate. So,
yeah.
um, and there's some artistic license in there. I love my dad gets correct my dad. My dad corrects me up because like takes like Smoking the Bandit for whatever, and he's like, yeah, that can't happen, and this wouldn't happen, and blah blah. I'm like, Dad, it's called artistic license. It's a fucking movie. Just this isn't like you're not doing like a actual highway scene. It's,
Right. I'm well aware that the bandit cannot pole vault a Trans Am across a canyon. I get it.
yeah, I love like movies or TV. We were watching something. Oh, my wife was watching one of the Jurassic World things, I think, last night, and they jumped this big truck into the back of a ship, and she's like, "Could it do that?" And I'm like, "Well, first of all, it was when it jumped into the ship, like the nose of the truck went up." And I'm like, well, it's a flat dock, and I'm not sure how the nose would have come up. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
okay,
I mean, if you want
doesn't
me to break this down, no, it's not possible, but
it's not possible.
it's
It
good
would
in
have
the
went
movie.
nose first. It would have went nose first into the ocean, and they would have missed the boat. So the movie would have ended. Um,
It would have ended an hour ago.
exactly. Like you've seen we're getting a little off topic here, but on TV Big Bang Theory,
Hmm.
where because they're super nerds about like Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the girls go that Harrison Ford is irrelevant in that movie. Like
And it ruins the
you
movie for him. 'Cause
yeah, they're like, well, what about no? What about no? And then we thought about it for not a whole lot, but it's like it's literally he doesn't need to be in that movie. Like all of that would have happened anyway.
That's actually that might be one of my favorite episodes of Big Bang
Yeah,
Theory, which was also
that's
irritating. But 'cause I also love that movie growing up. So.
yeah, I mean, there's too many to go. I was as you were talking, I'm like, okay, I need two and one. I know what my one. I think I know what my one is, but I lost track of my number two. I can't think of what I was. I was like, what was your fucking number two again? So it might be the alcohol. It could be the lack of sleep and the alcohol. It just could be
I
alcohol.
mean, you know what though? It's also this comes with the territory with the fact that we don't script everything.
Yeah. Okay. Carrie right now is shaking her head like, Jesus fucking Christ, guys, put some effort
You
into
couldn't
this
even
fucking
have
thing.
wrote down your top 5.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. How fucking lazy are you two? I called her a millennial today.
Oh, is she pissed? Because Gen Z and millennials hate each other.
Oh, is she a Gen Zer? I thought she was a millennial. She's a Gen Zer.
She's probably on the cusp
Of being a millennial or Gen Z?
of Gen Z millennial like that. Like I'm on the
So
cusp of
what's
Gen X and millennial.
Oh, okay. So it's Gen X. I'm Gen X. There's no. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, so
I'm
I'm
well
on the
inside the
cusp,
line.
which is like when so I had to do like I managed a team and
Mm.
HR was like, "Hey, like our VP was like, "Hey, we got to learn how to connect with millennials." And when they like put up on the screen like the age bracket, I'm like, "I'm out." Like this is fucking bullshit. And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm not a goddamn millennial."
So it goes Gen X, millennial, Gen Z.
Yeah.
Okay, she's
And
got to be a Gen Zer.
but what's
We'll have to
hilarious
ask her tomorrow.
is like the things that Gen Z hates millennials about. Because they're like, "Oh, I get it. Life's hard. Wham, wham, wham." Like, first of all, like you can't be mad at them that millennials are now getting to the age where they're starting to learn their lessons. So, like, you can't. They're actually trying to help you, and you're like, "Oh, wham." But then Gen Z's like, "Oh, wham."
What's before? What's before X?
Boomers,
Sorry to cut you
because
off.
boomers were a big. That was
No,
a
Boomer.
But no, they
Yeah,
were
no.
such a big range because that boom wasn't a 5-10 year run. That was like a 20-year span.
So Boomers go from what, like 46 to 70?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, yes, I don't believe there's anything in between there. So,
There's got to be. I'm gonna have to look this up later, but I think there's got to be a gap between Boomers and Gen X.
what is it going to be like? And somewhere in between here is
Yeah,
generation.
from 73 to 76 is this. What?
We like to forget about them, but we just, you know what? I don't think there's anybody in there that wasn't on a bender. So that's Generation Coke right there.
Anyway, why don't let's get back at it. So you go with your number two. I'll let you go back to back.
Okay,
You go with
so
your number two, and I'll see if I can remember my number.
My number two might be your number one,
Okay.
Shawshank. Or was that also your number two?
No, that was not my number two. That actually is, you know what, you kind of call it is my number one. I mean, Shawshank is my number one.
I wasn't trying to take that from you. That's why I kind of
No, it's fine. I mean, when you said my number two is probably your number one, like, well, how do I fucking respond to that? Nope. And then 2 seconds later, go, it's Shawshank.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Meow meow meow. It's just, oh man, I can't say enough good things about Shawshank.
Yeah, Shawshank that's anytime that movie's on.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I bought it the other day. I got halfway through it, and I'm like watching commercials. I'm like, what am I doing? Fuck this. And I went out to Apple TV and got like the 4K version, like the redone 4K version of it. I'm like, now when I want to watch fucking Shawshank, I'm gonna watch this motherfucker in style.
You're like,
Crisp
man,
picture.
when Andy Dufresne's crawling through the river and shit, I had no idea how jacked he was. Like his triceps are really.
Or when he was getting raped in the fucking in the laundry room.
I almost went there.
That's all right. I went there.
Oh
Uh,
man, but that's
you
another
can,
one
yeah.
that
Hearing him scream being raped and surround sounds amazing.
you're right. You have no idea how good it sounds when he tells them that if you punch me in the head with your dick in my mouth, that I will have an involuntary reaction that will bite the whole damn thing off.
It's so poignant.
But that's another one that the first time I saw it, it was like on an HBO free preview. And like I was in my room just flipping through, and I forget, like what scene was on, but obviously it was enough to catch my eye. And I was like, oh, I'll see what this is about. And then, like at the end of it, I'm just like, that was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And
It's just, it's so solid.
yeah, like so, like I remember with the free preview, of course, we had to look at the TV guide back then. I'm like,
The TV guide or the like the little HBO book? Remember the little
oh yeah,
HBO?
it might have been the
It was like,
HBO thing, yeah.
yeah,
And I'm like, showing my stepdad, I'm like, I swear to God, you got to watch this on Sunday night when it comes back on. And he did. And he was like, he was like, this one of the best movies I've ever seen.
yeah.
um,
That's,
yeah.
yeah. It's and it's filmed in Part of it's filmed in Mansfield,
Yeah. The Mansfield
just up
prison.
the road. Yep.
Have you ever been there?
I've been by it. I think one day we were driving. I think we were driving back to Chicago, and it wasn't because I think it was before we moved here. It might have been. Maybe it wasn't. I don't remember. We were driving around for some fucking reason, and I'm like, oh, let's just get off. Like, we'll do that every now and again when we do these road trips. We're like, oh, that looks interesting. We'll just
Oh, hell
go
yeah.
off the beaten path. And it was closed, but we drove up to like the front gate of the prison and kind of checked it out and saw the signs for like the Shawshank Trail because they did some other filming around there. So, but yeah, but you can do tours and shit, right? You've been up there for Halloween, I
Yeah.
think you
We
said
did
once or
the
something.
haunted house there, which was awesome. Like I dig that shit. Or, I mean, I haven't done it in a while, but like, because it doesn't scare me, but it's fun. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, good one, or the girls are screaming or whatever else, or my kids are, oh, my oldest daughter, I think we've taken her, and we may have taken her to that. But they do a good job. It was a solid production.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, I used it as a teaching moment. Like,
It's
see,
scared straight.
that cell right there, that's where you'll probably chow your first beef if you don't fucking straighten up.
Oh, that's fucked up, yet funny.
um, but yeah, I mean, my brother and I got in one of the cells, man, and they were so small. Like you always hear how small a cell. I mean, my brother and I side by side, and I wasn't as big as I am now. So we were side by side. We took up the whole damn cell, and it was
Wow.
legitimately 10 degrees cooler walking through the threshold. So that was kind of freaky, like, oh man, why did it just get a whole lot colder just from me crossing over that? But it was cool. I dig that kind of stuff. The haunted house, even the real stuff. I like to be scared, and ghost shit actually does kind of freak me out.
Are you like big into like those ghost watcher shows where they like go into houses and stuff?
Not really, because I don't buy it. Like
No.
I think it's all, it may be, some of it may have happened, but I just don't believe it. I've had
Got it.
shit happen to me in like our old house.
My parents' house, my dad's house growing up was haunted. Like he legit believe. I mean, like he's like, look, I'm not a big ghost guy and whatever. He says, but when you shut all the lights off in your house and you leave with your family, and when your whole family comes back again and all the lights are on in your house, or you hang a shirt up and then it's missing the next day and you're the only one home, like it's missing
Yeah,
like 2 hours later and you're the only one home, and just shit like that. And here's the kicker, like his my grandfather told him and my uncle to go out and like pull the walk up the sidewalk up because they're gonna do a new sidewalk or something. And when they flipped the stones over the path over, they
yeah.
were gravestones.
Oh man,
So all of the stones leading up to my dad's house growing up,
we're
or one of the
gravestones.
houses growing up, were gravestones.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So
Oh yeah,
um
he's definitely seen some shit.
yeah, he's like but he's not like, oh my god, ghosts here and ghosts there. Is just like that. He legit's like the house is haunted. I mean, he goes, I can't prove it, I can't deny it, I can't do whatever, but I believe that there was something going on there that was outside of whatever.
Yeah.
So
Well,
just kind of very matter of fact about it.
but that's how it is, truthfully. Like
Yeah.
we didn't have anything like I stood up and I saw a figure in the hall. It was
Yeah.
swinging
It's
its dick in its left arm, and like it wasn't anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it was stuff you couldn't explain. I was,
yeah.
and they say animals have a sixth sense.
Hmm.
I remember being in the back room, which was an addition onto the house. So the people we bought the house off of, um, it was a gay couple, and so his husband died. Well, I guess Columbus probably wasn't allowed to marry then, but his husband died in that room. So I didn't, I don't know, cancer or something, but at any rate, I was in there, just because I pace when I am on the phone or used to.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
do all. I shit. I walk around the house when I'm on the phone.
Yeah, like I'm just pacing, like it's not, it's not at a certain rhythm. It's just whatever. I'm meandering around, and I was in there, and the cat stopped at the threshold, and cats like when they puff up and their back is arched, and they're like meow,
Yeah.
and the cat was doing that, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I kid you not, like I saw a shadow move, and a car didn't drive by, so I was just like, oh fuck this. So I got out of there, but I mean,
And
nothing.
they felt his felt his hand touch your ass, and you're like, hey, hey, hey,
So we like, come on,
come on,
don't
man.
disrespect your husband, you son of a bitch.
Hey, I'm flattered, but I don't go that way, even with
Right, I
ghosts.
appreciate it, but I'm not into it, okay?
Yeah, I appreciate the sentiment,
I mean, thank you, but no thank you. Um
and I understand too. I get it. I get
Hey,
it.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
But my brother had a friend, and like they, crashed our house one time. I think they were in high school. And they were asking because the house was at that point almost 100 years old, and they were like, "Is there any? You guys see any freaky shit?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," and told him about the guy dying there. He he slept with his butt up against the couch because he didn't want to get butt raped by the
By a
ghost.
ghost.
I was like, dude, I don't think you're his type.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was
Exactly.
hilarious, actually.
And
Yeah.
he's a fucking ghost. Like the couch is gonna stop him. I mean, he goes through walls and stuff.
Like, he's hung like a fucking gargoyle, man.
Horse. Yeah, exactly.
Like nothing's stopping him. He'll plow right through that
Ex-
fucking couch.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's gonna go on the
You,
deck, and he's still like he's nailing you. He's got it like that, man. I mean, it's pretty incredible. But we saw some other shit, man. I
oh,
mean, it
that's
was
funny.
and so I think I've said this before. My wife watched or we watched Amityville Horror, but it was the Ryan Reynolds one. And she made me come stand in the bathroom like in the hallway when she went to the bathroom. She was so freaked out.
Oh, grand.
All right, we way off topic, but
Yeah,
Shawshank
exactly.
is still, I mean, just incredible. I mean,
Yeah, that's a
yeah, I don't think I've met anybody who's at least maybe because I've said so much good about it that's been able to tell me they didn't like that movie.
yeah. It's if there is, it's few and far between. So, well, that's my number one. So we'll do that. So I'm gonna back up. My number two is Hitman's Bodyguard. Um,
Oh, that's one of your top.
That's one of my top. I mean, I love Ryan Reynolds, just the banter, the his rhythm of kind of talk. I mean, it could do another halvesy one. I'm cheating here at like the motherfucker, but
Well, go ahead
it
and cheat since I took one of yours.
well, you didn't take it. I mean, it's still my number one. It's still your number two, but I put like Hitman's Bodyguard and like Deadpool together. I just like that type of that
Okay.
sarcasm. I mean, obviously, if anybody knows me, sarcasm is probably really high on my list. So, um,
Yeah, didn't you
uh,
take first in the sarcasm contest of '85?
I did. I actually won first place in North Carolina's sarcasm world sarcasm event. So, um,
No shit.
yeah, in 2006, I think it was 2006. Um, but no, the just him and I like Ryan Reynolds. His com. I mean, even just what was the one where he was in college?
Oh,
Um, where they
Van
jerked the dog
Wilder.
off.
Van
Van
Wilder.
Wilder. They jerked the dog off
Yeah,
into
the
the
eclairs or whatever.
the eclairs, right? But the I mean the scene, the one, and this gets me every time. They're in Amsterdam and he's sitting there and he's drinking, and Samuel L. Jackson's getting chased, and the whole fucking world is like blowing up behind him, and he's just sitting there, and he's like, "I, what about you, motherfucker?" And he goes, "What about you, motherfucker?" He goes, "The man ruined motherfucker for the rest of us," and like he's drinking, and the whole fucking place is like blowing up and whatever, and he's like, "Ah, god damn it," and he just goes after him, whatever. But
No, it's a
yeah,
great movie. I mean, it's a
yeah,
good
I
action
like it.
movie. It's funny.
Mhm.
I mean, Samuel L. Jackson and Ryan Reynolds are great off each
Yeah.
other there. And I mean,
What was about where he goes to the windshield? It's like, uh, he go, "What are you doing? What about the fucking seatbelt?" And then they start getting shot at. Neha loves, my wife loves, Selma Hayek in it. Um,
I just love
who's
Selma
just,
Hayek anywhere.
dude. I saw a picture of her. She's
Oh,
54, 53, somewhere in there, 50,
spectacular.
somewhere between 2 and 4. And she's like on some beach somewhere in a bikini. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Like
Oh,
this is insane. And she's in the sun. It's not, she's not wrinkly. She's not, I don't know what does she go, does she sleep in an oxygen
man.
chamber at night, or I don't know what the fuck she does. She looks amazing.
Oh, she's
And you throw that in with
phenomenal.
J-Lo's 50.
Yeah.
Um, who else is 50 plus?
Elizabeth Hurley. That's another one you see a lot of
Elizabeth Hurley.
bikini
Yeah.
pics,
Elizabeth
50.
Hurley. But
Oh, Salma Hayek, though, man, she
yeah,
might
some,
be the
but
most beautiful woman alive.
yeah, and my wife and her are like the same height, and I'm like, so, but yeah, no, but Selma Hayek's hysterical in it. Like she jabs the dude in the neck with a fucking broken bottle, and during that bar fight and whatever. But when she's yelling at the lawyer about that, um, she's yelling at the lawyer about like he's obscene to her, and he said dirty obscenity things. I want a new lawyer or whatever, and the guy from Interpol's just looking at her like, what the fuck. So, um, yeah, I put that at my number. I was going to put that on my number 2 anyway, so that's my number 2, and I don't need to talk about my number 1 because we just spent 20 minutes on it. So,
you,
all right, drum roll,
you know what my number
Mike.
one
What's your
is.
number?
You can say it for me.
Um, oh, it's got to be Coming to America.
It is.
Uh,
Which I've probably beat that dead horse on this show already. But
yeah.
it's just, you know what? I think one of the reasons it's my favorite is my parents had that. So back to VHS, coming full circle there. They had it on
Hmm.
VHS. And, so I would get up in the morning. I was probably 7, 8 years old. Um, Probably shouldn't have been watching that, but oh well. And my parents were like, just go watch a movie. Like it's 6 o'clock. Like we have to get up, like let us sleep till 7. So I'd just go put on a movie, and it was typically Coming to America. And it's been one of my favorites since I was probably 7 years old. Eddie Murphy
Oh,
is just, even if you're not a
is
huge fan of the movie, you have to admit Eddie Murphy is just top notch in that movie.
he was peaking then. I mean, that was trading, wasn't Trading Space Places around that, or maybe
Yeah,
that was a little
that
after Trading
no,
Places.
yeah, it was probably 6, 7 years, but it was still in
Yeah,
that window where he was
yeah,
on top of the world, and just all the characters he played. I mean, Sexual Chocolate, the old white Jewish guy in the
yeah. Arsenio Hall. I mean, and he
yeah,
played the barber and too. I
yeah,
mean, both him and Arsenio Hall played.
the whole
Arsenio Hall was on his way up
yeah,
at that point, I
just
think.
the whole barbershop scenes with those guys. I think you mentioned this. Cuba Gooding Jr. was just getting his haircut in that movie before before anybody knew who he was.
Sam Jackson was in that
Yeah, he
movie.
was. Stop right
Yeah, a lot
there.
of.
Fuck you. And then they beat his ass. Even back in '87, he was known for dropping an F bomb.
Yeah, that guy's been. Yeah, he's ruined motherfucker for all of us.
But yeah, I mean, it's just been one of my top movies. That's why I quote it so much. So that's why. But again, I know I said that was 1 through 4. Those are all probably number 1 for me.
Oh, and if we actually did some planning on this show, I could probably name off. I mean, I could probably my list might even change. But when I was sitting, we talked about like doing movies. I was sitting having dinner. I'm thinking, like, what are my top 5? When I looked at like the top 5, I was looking like what movies am I gonna like if it's on, I'm gonna watch.
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna watch it. So those are the 5. Like those are like the 5. Well, I actually named off like 8. But
You named 3.
those are.
You named 2 trilogies in
I did.
octology or whatever the fuck.
Well, think about it. So I said Smoking the Bandit was 1, but then I had like the Star Wars and Bourne. There's 6 movies right there. And then I had Deadpool, so 6, 5, 11. I'm like, if I did in the top five, I did 15 shows. I did 15 movies.
That's right, because when you even when you did Monty Python, you threw a second movie in there too.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I think I'm up to 15.
um, but no, it's a good topic, man. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what. So for me, like number 5 through probably 13 are interchangeable. Like I have a
yeah,
clear top 4, but then there's so many. Like I said, Mr. Brooks, The Program, an old college football movie, Bronx Tale. I don't know if you've seen Bronx Tale. Love
I've
that
seen Bronx
movie.
Tale. That's a good movie. Um, who's the dude in the program? The fucking steroid dude. What was his name?
Oh, I don't. Latimer was
The
in the movie.
Latimer.
Yeah,
Yeah, Latimer. Wasn't that Latimer?
yeah, in the movie it
That
was
was
Latimer.
Latimer.
I don't know what his real
Yeah.
name is, but yeah,
No,
Latimer.
I don't give a fuck about his real name.
Oh
I
yeah,
just want to
yeah,
know his movie name.
Latimer.
Latimer.
So, man, we really do bring things full circle. So, in Ohio State, Wyatt Davis, if you heard that name, he's an All-American lineman for Ohio State. His dad's the linebacker from that movie. Like the
Really?
super intense guy. Like, how many times do you think Ohio State was like, "So, you want to give us a little pregame? You gonna go ahead and drop a little pregame on us? A little pregame." Because he's that's one of my favorite scenes of the movie. They're just watching film, and they're like, "All right, what's your job on this? Um, kill the quarterback. Next play, hit the tight end so hard his girlfriend dies." Like it's just awesome. I did that um in our fraternity. We had like one of the things was a football fraternity game. However, it was like all the brothers against all of us, so it was actually like 13 on 9. Like other people couldn't show up, but like, so yeah, we were outnumbered, and I was doing that bit as I was walking around, and I think I legitimately scared a couple of the brothers, because they're like, one of my pledge class guys was like, "Dude, you are fucking intense, man." And I'm like, "Dude, like, have you not seen the program?" And then it was my roommate, the porn guy, actually.
Oh, nice.
And it's like, yeah, you've never played football, man. Like, it's not a friendly game. Like, it is intense. And yeah, I was walking around telling one of the guys, like, "Man, you're the guy that knocked up my sister. I'm gonna fucking kill you." And he's like, "Dude, I didn't even know you had a sister." And I'm like, "Yeah." It was
That's
awesome.
funny. It's funny, but like you're like that's lines from a movie. When I the team I was managing a couple years ago, I quoted Ron Burgundy like, "I'm kind of a big deal," and they thought I was fucking serious. They're like, "God, what an arrogant prick this dude is." Because I'm like, I don't know if you know this, guys, but I'm kind of a big deal, and they just looked at me like, "What?" And
They're like, in
there's
your
what?
own mind, Jesus.
Oh, Jesus Christ! And you're gonna do my review? Um, but the one person that worked for me was when we were still in Chicago, so I was in the distribution center in Chicago, and she was in there as well too. But she knew what I was talking about. So she has a she's the supervisor now, so she has a team, and she actually put that on like their Christmas cards because I'm like kind of a big deal. And people and finally I had to explain it to the team once, like that's a line from a movie. I'm not that big of an asshole. I am an asshole, but I'm not that big of an asshole.
Right. Like
Um,
that's not where I go. But yes,
But
make no
yeah,
mistake.
but it's funny. Like I just when you start saying like they really thought I was saying that, I'm like that's awesome because I say that line all the time, and people are like, "What a douche." I mean, kind of.
Right to your face, they're like, "Yeah, we got
Yeah,
it." And then when you
yeah.
left, her, "Man, you believe this fucking guy?"
Oh God, I'm gonna call HR, see if I can get a new manager.
I bet he's gonna try to fuck me. He's gonna try to fuck me.
What's that from?
I don't know.
Oh, vacation, European vacation. I think he's gonna fuck her, Dad. Russ, I don't know. I don't think he's gonna fuck her. Dad, I think he's gonna fuck her. Russ, don't pay attention. He's gonna fuck her. Dad, look, I think he's gonna fuck her. Russ, I actually, yeah, he might. I think he's gonna fuck her. So,
Oh man, that was good.
you know what? I didn't even put Caddyshack in there. How do you not put Caddyshack in your top five?
That good
Neither
call.
one of us put Caddyshack in our five.
But so again, where that goes back to my 5 to 14 are interchangeable
Oh my
for
god.
me. Like, I mean, I can't. I love Caddyshack. I can't rank it over any of the top 4 I had though.
Oh man, you know what? Now I'm pissed because I didn't even think of Caddyshack when I was putting this list together. There's too many fucking movies. I can't. I mean, it would take me a week to plan for this episode because I'd have to like keep writing everything down and then stack rank everything
So
and
see,
all that kind of
even
shit.
when we try to narrow it down to five, we still can't narrow it down. When like
No,
we talked about this
I
before,
mean,
like comedy for us is like we just need to record 4 hours and make it like 4 episodes.
or six. We'll record 4 hours and break it into 16 episodes. Um, I mean, Caddyshack. I mean, my fucking god, Caddyshack. I've watched that show. Hey, nice hat. Looks good on you. Uh, God, it's in the hole. My favorite line of all time is like, looping for the Dalai Lama, long hair of the Lama. Um, he said something about he said something hitting a crevice. I can't think how that goes. He goes on. He goes. He gets done. He tries to stiff me, and I said, "Hey, Lama, how about something for the effort?" And he says, "On your deathbed, you will regain total consciousness." So I've got that going for me. But you got to. The scene is he's poking the guy in the chest with a pitchfork as he's telling the story. So anyway, there's a million. Mind if I play through? Cannonball it was the other one with the weed
So see,
and the
you
bourbon.
fucked up, man. How did
I
you
did,
like? There's no way. Like I said, there's no way I'm misconstruing my top four. Five would have been
dude. I stuffed 15 fucking movies into the top five. So if I missed one, I apologize.
That's okay. I mean, it's more about people getting to know us a little bit.
Yes. Now you know that I can't create a list for shit. So
Yeah. Well,
winner,
just
winner.
just wait till we do songs. Good one.
Exactly. I'm gonna start writing songs
Yeah, you
down
might want
now.
to start working on that now.
Yeah, we don't even have a date for it, but I'm just gonna start putting stuff down.
It's gonna be like September 23, and you're gonna be
Yeah.
like, I've been Carrie, you say I don't prep. I've been working on this one for 2.5 fucking years.
That's funny. I gotta start taking some ginkgo. Start taking some ginkgo supplements for my memory.
um, all right. No, that's good
Anyway,
stuff, man.
it was good stuff. So 40 down the complete.
Much appreciated.
Yes.
As always, listeners, give us an idea for a topic. I think some of our best work is where we can just riff off the cuff. So give us an
Yeah.
idea, give us a topic. If you want to be on the show, let us know, and we'd be happy to put something together.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Dave.
Later.